Hello, Internet. My name is Chamomile.
Yeah, I'm Requiem. You couldn't have helped me out while I was in the Abyss cam?
I mean, you seem to have done all right for yourself down there.
Yeah, I am a level 20 paladin now, but it was pretty rough. Like I had to go through the Dreaming Gulf and Shedkala, and I just got out of the Demon Web pits. It was a nightmare.
And Lolth was there.
Yeah.
And was she single? Just for no reason.
Cam, she's out of your league.
Hey, I am basically a darker cold god at this point. I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like, I struck out a little bit with Lamashtu, but I mean, she was working on herself, and that was fair. I got to move on and find someone else, and I feel like Lolth might be the one, which is not like the one, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure she's not a sub.
Yeah, but I mean, there are Dom couples who like Dom a sub together, and there is a kink for Doms who want to be turned into subs, and maybe Lolth is one of those. I'm not mad with hubris. You're mad with hubris.
Yeah, on the topic of hubris, I don't remember you having this many tentacles.
That's not hubris. That's an aesthetic decision. I just like the look of tentacles. Okay.
What happened to your physical body?
I transcended it. Like you do. Perfectly ordinary thing to be doing. Stop judging me.
Yeah, hold on, I got something for that. This is my phylactery of body restoration. I just hope this is only going to hurt a lot.
Wait, what? Oh, fuck. Fucking hell. Ah, Christ. I don't have nearly as many tentacles. Okay. I really feel like this is just like rubbing salt into the wound. Because right before Zorzalax left, I was doing the Hallowbrook Hotel Sabat Stronghold episode with him, and halfway through, the machine crashed. In fairness, I accidentally left Google Chrome open in another tab, so I was kind of asking for it, but still.
Yeah, talk about hubris.
So that's why we're, halfway through that stage. You didn't miss a whole lot. Like, I mean, yeah, this is a reasonably well-designed, shooty combat level, but shooty combat levels aren't really what this game is for, so, and even if you don't necessarily want to just watch us talk over a shooty combat game, there's a reason we don't do those.
You can really tell they're scraping the bottom of the barrel as we advance through the game. Like, that probably was kicking in already with the sewer levels, and then the Quagen stuff, all the quests. There were less quests, and they were all kind of silly.
Yeah, I mean, they were still good, but they definitely had a very different tone, and there weren't nearly as many of them. Right, and then, at this point, with the sewer level, which in fairness was before Chinatown, but still, with the sewer level, and with here in the Sabbat, and the Society of Leopold even, we've sort of gotten to the stage where it's not even good anymore. It's just, this is an at best okay shooter stage in what's supposed to be a role-playing game. The Society of Leopold did have some computers to hack and, some sneaking around you could do, but there was basically no social.
It was a really shitty werewolf that killed you.
Yeah, I keep getting back into corners by these things, and I still don't know where that weird Kool-Aid Man sound effect is coming from.
Hold on, here, put this necklace on.
Why? What does this do?
It's protection from Kool-Aid +2.
There we go. So, after that crash, I am officially done with this shit. My
It's too bad
ammo
this,
count is now yes.
It's too bad this game only has the shitty off-brand werewolves and not regular werewolves.
Yes. That is definitely a real true thing that I'm sure you brought up for no reason at all. You played this game before, right?
I have.
Right.
Like, the game would definitely be improved if it had real werewolves, but it just has the gangrel.
I mean, the gangrel are annoying enough. Man,
Just imagine how cool it'd be for you to be chased around by a werewolf for like an hour.
I mean, I'm imagining it. Cool is not the word I would use. These twins, by the way, these little twin teleport people, are, as near as I can tell, they are La Sombra, the other special Sabbat clan that they have. Feels like they probably should have been actual characters at some point.
The Losombra being one of the less racist Sabbat clans.
I don't think any of the Sabbat clans are especially racist.
Aren't the Ravnos Sabbat?
They are not.
Oh.
Yeah, all the racist clans are independents.
Oh. Hooray?
Yeah, I don't know what that says exactly, so I'm just gonna leave it there.
So how is Zorgalax, by the way?
Yeah, he seems to be doing alright. Pretty cool guy. Doesn't afraid of anything.
Oh.
He does have my original body, which I hope won't be a problem.
I'm sure it's fine. This isn't my original body. And your original body was legally his anyways.
I mean, was it though? Like, I feel like I could sue him for breach of contract.
I'm not sure there's a court that he answers to.
Kind of raises the question as to why he makes deals in the first place. No idea what this parkour up on these guys is. I have to assume it's somehow related to you, so I'm going to shoot you in the face with a shotgun until it goes away. Get back here. I'm looking for Bloodlines mods. And it's amazing, other than the unofficial plus patch, which is basically required at this point, but besides that, oh man, I need your blood. There we go. Oh, god damn it. But yeah, besides the unofficial patch, which is the one we were playing with the whole time because it's basically required, everything is pretty much just, oh, this makes it more in line with the spirit of the original rules. You fucks. Troika did a great job adapting this game to a new medium. De-adapting it will not make it better.
Did it just change gameplay or what?
Yeah, my mouse has some battery left. It's fine. But yeah, it's all gameplay tweaks to bring things more in line with the tabletop RPG mechanics.
Which are not good.
Yeah. Even if they were, they have a turn-based game, like, you know, the tabletop game I produced, Dark Lord. If someone translated, if someone were to adapt that to a video game and their first priority was to stay as faithful to the original rule set as possible, then I would smack them upside the head and tell them that tabletop RPGs aren't video games. And I, you know, even standing by the quality of that rule set, it's my own rule set after all. Like, it's still just a medium. That's not how you adapt something. Ad bit for Dark Lord, which is almost a thing you can buy. You know, should be within a couple of weeks. Just watch. As soon as it actually comes out, I'm gonna stop finding ways to put it in the conversation. I only shill when it can't do me any good. It's all the irritation of being advertised to, with none of the actually supported creators. So they have these, as far as we can tell, blood dolls lying around. There's like random dudes here in the Sabbat place. They're humans. You can beat on them. They won't talk to you. They don't take any action when you run around. They don't duck for cover when, you know, a firefight starts right next to them. They really feel unfinished. Like,
yeah, it's very much out of time. They needed more time and more money to finish everything up. And this whole level is already the result of cut corners, so seeing such an obvious cut corner within the cut corner.
Pop that open, fantastic. I could use a bit of healing. Not to mention some blood, which I will also use for healing.
They just stand there, doing nothing.
Just like the La Sombra twins, you know. It definitely feels like there was a version of this where they would have had some actual dialogue, even if only briefly, where they would have been real characters. But that's not the version we got.
So you did.
I mean, I tried to tell her to stay safe.
I wonder if there was some sort of error.
And it's a patch feature that lets you do that. In the original version, she always gives you the body armor no matter what you tell her, and she always dies no matter what you do. Which, that was a really shitty death scene, by the way. Like, it kind of feels like you may as well just have her body lying on the floor when you come in at that point. Ah, not to hit a blood doll. Because, I mean, it does feel kind of annoying that you can't save Heather when she dies, like, right in front of you. Or you're just frozen by cutscene incompetence. Like, she's a ghoul. She's supposed to be pretty hard to kill. Granted, she probably doesn't have any combat experience and wouldn't be much in a fight. But the Sabbat would require some effort to kill her, whereas before, I'm trying to shoot from this guy's shotgun. There we are. I cannot turn my mouse, but I'll just pilot myself around like a tank. Okay, mouse is back alive.
Okay.
Like, I'm pretty sure I have batteries. I can't just go and replace this.
Poor Cotula.
The whole thing with Heather, like, I like the direction they were going in vaguely, but I do feel like they face-planted with the execution. Basically everything except for your very first interactions with her.
This looks like another person who probably should have been a real character.
The plus patch actually does add a side quest related to it.
Oh.
But I did not do it because it has no voice acting. Quest design on it is a little bit clumsy. It's basically
What
like
type of vampire is he supposed to be?
Huh?
What type of vampire is he supposed to be?
I believe this is in more of the Sangha. The ability to summon fire that prevents you from escaping the boss arena doesn't appear to be any particular vampire ability. That just seems to be, bosses in general.
Now is that an ability in Dark Lord?
It is not.
He probably should have moved.
I mean, at least he didn't teleport all over the place. I'm not going to complain.
That's a human full of delicious blood.
Yep.
Not that I know what blood tastes like. I'm a paladin.
I mean, I have to assume that you took one of the archetypes or subclasses or like a 5e style oath to get one of the paladin oaths with whose restrictions are basically don't do the things that you weren't doing anyway.
Yeah, I took an oath of literary criticism.
What exactly are the tenets of that?
I have to criticize literature.
Is there a requirement for like how often?
No, I just have to do it.
Okay, so having done it ever, you are now. That seems very easy.
Well, you know,
Depending on-
Cotula has a gun, which, if we do a Freudian analysis, is essentially a penis.
I mean, I thought we were trying to avoid bringing back the ghost of Sigmund Freud.
I'm a level 20 paladin. I think I can take him.
Hey, we did beat him once. I mean, last time we beat him just by being friends at each other really hard. So. Okay, that's not going to damage me. Can I spend any XP? Not really.
I feel like with the Sabbat, like, it's partially like this dark church type thing, but it's also partially this weird, like, rock and roll, your rules that apply to me, old man thing, and they kind of contradict each other, I feel like.
Yeah.
Blood of my fallen brethren. Doesn't that make you
I mean,
wonder?
the heavy metal album cover church angle, I think, is the one that works better for the Sabbat.
Now, before you caused a time distortion by using Chrome on your red laptop, I think you discussed about how the Sabbat is more playable than the Camarilla.
Yes. So, the Sabbat, with the Camarilla, it's always kind of difficult to figure out why is a group of vampires getting together to, have adventures together. But,
ignorant gutter spawn.
But with the Sabbat, a big old pack of Sabbat, which can include any of up to 9 clans, all 7 of the Camarilla clans, maybe 6 if they don't have any Ventru, but any Ventru character can work about as well as a Toreador character anyway. And,
I will do it myself if I must.
So, okay, 8 clans, including the Lasombra and the Zimichi, which are both kind of weird, interesting
It is
vampire
the blood
clans.
that he is speaking through.
And
the blood of all the pawns.
The way the
must
Sabat
be
do
purified.
shovelheads is, and this isn't the only way, but one of the ways that they do it is... Are you going to tell me why you want to do that? Oh, so now you're going to try and kill me as a shitty werewolf. But yeah, so they'll turn a bunch of people into vampires and then immediately bury them alive while they're still kind of getting to grips with it. And so then that's your party. You are this group of people who clawed your way out of your own mass grave. The Sabat are telling you what to do, but you obviously have more loyalty amongst each other because of your shared experience than you do to your bosses. So,
What is a Zulo?
I have no idea. I was just wondering that myself. I assume it is the name of this form that he's using.
Also seems like the Sabat is more in line with the player experience, player desire. I feel like the Camarilla, they're all these rules and like a very strict hierarchy you're supposed to abide by. With the Sabat seems a little bit more like, you know, fuck the man.
Yeah, you know, the Sabat have no particular taboo against diablerie, you know, so long as you don't kill other Sabat. And even then, it's kind of more of an don't get caught kind of thing, but you could flex that one either way depending on what kind of campaign you want. Which means it's possible to advance generation during gameplay without, you know, basically turning rogue from your organization immediately. Even if only in secret.
There's an element of what TV tropes calls the rule-abiding rebel. I feel like that runs through a lot of Vampire the Masquerade. It's like, oh, you got to play cool vampires, and they go against ordinary mortal morality, but you're bound by a very strict humanity score, and you have to play. You're expected to play as the more orderly, rule-abiding faction.
Yeah.
The actual Satanist heavy metal types that I think vampire fans would be more attracted to are the bad guys for whatever reason.
Like, there's definitely room for a Camarilla campaign, but it would be more of a concept campaign as opposed to the Sabat, which is like just a straightforward campaign, you know, like what you would expect a default campaign. Another thing I nearly forgot to mention, Sabat paths, since you brought up humanity, make a lot more sense than the humanity system, where it's like, oh hey, here are all these basically, you know, these philosophies that you can follow to sort of reconcile yourself with vampirism, and you know, to maintain your sanity one way or another. And you know, with the Sabat, there's a whole bunch of them. You're not, you know, you can pick whichever one makes sense for your character, rather than having humanity imposed on you, the way a Camarilla or even Anarch campaign would. So yeah, like the Camarilla feels like the concept campaign. That's like, oh hey guys, let's, you know, we'll all be the same clan, so that we can all be childer of the same sire. And so, like, you know, he's going to be the boss that we kind of chafe under instead of the Sabat pack. Which, like, you know, I could see people who've played a lot of Vampire and have sort of gotten most of their character concepts out of their system and don't feel the need to, you know, like they're willing to sacrifice some flexibility in the character they play to a cool campaign concept. But when people are first starting out, you know, you want to say, here are the list of options, pick your favorite.
New World of Darkness was really bad about forcing a very narrow morality on you, pretty much no matter what. The humanity thing was very strict and had a lot of, like, humanity stuff was like normal stuff that, like, a player character is going to want to do that you would hit you for, and also everybody had to have one of the 7 Christian virtues or a 7 deadly sin that they were attached to, regardless of what their culture was, which is especially annoying since, like, 3 of those virtues are specifically Christian.
You stand amongst friends now.
the four the four universal virtues, or the cardinal virtues, which are just from Aristotle, but another three, faith, hope, and love, that's supposed to be virtues only Christians have within. So it's kind of dumb that oh no, this is universal.
Yeah.
A true friend in death is as
Especially,
true
because the sins have to be
precious,
sins and the
rare,
virtues
and
have to be
sweet.
virtues.
Pray your
Like,
senses
there
have
are
not
some
gone
seven
so
deadly
languid
sins
that this blessing
that's-
cannot be savored.
I mean, I guess, sure, any of the seven deadly sins is bad if you take it to a sufficient extreme, but the same is true of the virtues, because that's how things work.
But also, like, you really want to be able to, talk about different senses of morality. Like, I could see a system where you had, like,
That my admiration
a player prioritizes the 5 Confucian relationships.
founded on nothing.
Right.
Like, which of these do you value the most? Which do you uphold the least?
Indeed.
Or you could do something with, like,
Grandmothers, my greatest agents,
the 3
undoubtedly
poisons in Buddhism, where you're like, all right, what is your attachment? What is your aversion? What is your ignorance?
They had orders to get the sarcophagus at all costs and to let no one get in the way.
You also get the thing where this is something that really irritated me about New World of Darkness, is it really encourages you to be good. And I don't feel like, usually in RPGs you don't need encouragement to be good, you actually need encouragement to be bad. Like, the actual repercussion, the cost of being good is gone in a game. Like, you're not in actual danger by being courageous. Like, and most games are usually balanced in a way that your character's not really even in danger from being courageous.
Again, Kindred,
But then the actual pleasure you get from indulging in a vice doesn't exist. It just keeps you from participating in the game. If you don't participate in an adventure because to indulge your gluttony or your lust, you just don't get to play. But you don't actually get to eat or have sex.
Right.
So in
have been used by him in his desperate
New World of Darkness, you get 1 point of willpower restored for indulging your vice, and then all your willpower restored for doing your virtue. It should very clearly be the opposite. And also would make it sort of a morale system where, like, you treat yourself, it helps your morale. That makes sense.
LaCroix saw
Like, it was like an actual reason, like, oh, my character is gonna go spend a bunch of money on material things, and that's how they sort of,
and as you can see,
that's how they decompress, that's something they enjoy, and so that helps their morale.
LaCroix convinced me that an alliance with a Camarilla could strengthen the position of the Quajian.
Like, the guy who did Fable, Peter Molyneux, talked about how, like, 90% of the players take the good option. In Mass Effect, most of the players take the Paragon.
I mean, in fairness, I think a decent chunk of that is that these games do not know how to make evil seem remotely appealing. Like, the evil option in a lot of video games is be a psychopath for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, run around hurting people for no better reason except that you can.
Our war with the Annex has taken its toll.
With that said,
A truce with a Camarilla allowed us
I
to
looked at
marshal our
the
remaining forces
divide
and focus on a lone
between,
enemy.
good and evil factions in multi-faction MMORPGs, and the good faction is always favored strongly. Even in things like World of Warcraft, where, at least in theory, the quote-unquote evil faction is really supposed to be the spiky faction, although in practice, the Horde are always the bad guys. Like, the promise made was that the Horde is not necessarily the bad guys, but the writers don't deliver on that.
You need to understand that you are a liability.
What MMOs did you look at?
Once LaCroix finds the right moment, you will
So
be disposed
World of
of,
Warcraft was
just as he
70-30
did
in
with
favor of the
Alistair
Alliance.
Brown,
City of Heroes
Mr.
was like
Rodriguez,
90-10
your
in
sire,
favor
and
of heroes
countless
over
others.
villains. I'm trying to remember the other ones now. I know there was one or two more that I looked at, but I can't remember them.
Rogue Isles had a lot of design issues, as I recall. But then that they were really frustrating to navigate, and also you get the fact that you didn't actually really get to be a villain for a lot of it. You constantly accidentally end up being a hero.
This is especially true of the endgame content. On the way there, it's really more that you end up being a lackey and a mercenary, but pretty much never a supervillain doing your own scheme.
having the having the villains be in their own place that is villain land kind of made it hard for them to be actually get to be villainous. Like that was my issue with the Pathfinder evil adventure path, Hell's Vengeance. It takes place in an evil country, so your actual ability to impact the world and do evil is heavily limited, and also you just end up the lackey of the queen of this evil country, because Pathfinder loves its NPCs and doesn't want the players to be the center of any adventure.
Oh, is the queen of the evil country a sinister dominatrix?
I hope when next we meet.
I mean, I don't know, but like probably.
I give it 60% odds.
While you're talking to what's her name, I will look it up.
And that is the very end of the conversation, but let's go ahead and look that up.
All right, Google.
Pathfinder has had female villains who are not BDSM themed. It does happen ever, but you know.
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, you'd probably be a better judge of this. Like, she comes out, like, she looks like she'd probably be domineering, but I don't think it's, like, necessarily BDSM themed.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably have to at least glance over her backstory for it, too.
Yeah, and sometimes the Pathfinder backstory is where you get into the surprise dominatrix territory. Like with the bee people who have a whole war thing.
Right. And I mean, even one hobgoblin who, Chunk made it.
Hey there! You believe what happened the other night? I couldn't come into work on account I bought a tamale from a street vendor and got to scoot something terrible. What a lucky thing, too, because that food poisoning saved my life. I guess you can go on up. He wasn't expecting you, but it should be all right.
Yeah, Pathfinder puts way too much effort into its NPC backstory, especially like it'll be an NPC that you cannot interact with their backstory at all.
Yeah, like there's even some of the characters who I think are all right, but there is no real opportunity in the storyline as presented to actually have them interact with the players.
The Sabbat. Another obstacle is removed. From the enemy, we resurrect a new order. And this, in no small part, to your service. Did you hear that? You were never able to wipe them out completely. Keep it up, and you may have his job. Continue on the course you're on now, and you're bound to become a preeminent fixture of my court. Here's a token of my gratitude. Serve me well, and we'll conquer this city side by side.
Something that is kind of neat here is that everyone is now fighting over your allegiance. Like, the NPCs in this game do eventually figure out that you're player one, and that whoever is going to win is probably going to be whoever has you on their side.
You found the key. Where? Who has it? Alliance. A Camarilla prince aligned with foreign devils. Preposterous. Don't you see through their trick? They've told you this lie, this impossible, staggering deception in an...
I mean, you've kind of been an asshole to us this entire time, and by video game rules, that means you definitely are the villain.
As of this moment, there is no blood hunt against Nines Rodriguez. The Kuei Jin have revealed their plot. They want us to war against each other? Well, to that I propose an alliance with the Anarchs. Together, we kindred shall drive out these foreigners once and for all. The Camarilla are no threat to their lives, barely even to their way of life. The Kuei Jin would eradicate us all, but they have not the numbers to do so, which is why a civil war would be convenient for them. Go to the last round immediately. Tell them the Kuei Jin have admitted to killing Grout, and that the blood hunt against Nines Rodriguez is officially over. Tell them I have realized the true threat the Kuei Jin pose, and wish to negotiate a pact. You're not the first person that comes to mind
So
to
you know
play
how we
emissary,
talked
but
to Nines
your
Rodriguez
relative
about
youth and naivete will
potentially
make you
making an alliance
seem
with
more
the Camarilla,
sincere in the eyes of the
and,
anarchs
he
than
responded with
some of my
threatening
other
bluster.
representatives.
Yes.
I
And
will
now
begin
here
organizing
LaCroix
plans
is,
for
like,
war.
taking the first step.
Secure this alliance. All our futures depends on it.
Like, if this were a real-world situation, then I would be strongly considering the possibility that LaCroix, for some reason, took an immediate dislike to us. Probably because of, as an accident of how we were sired, and that he is otherwise a fairly stable and reliable leader. Power hungry, sure, but I mean, he's a vampire leader. A non-power hungry leader is probably never an option. But, he at least seems to be smart and long-term about it, trying to benefit from the status quo rather than pillage it.
All right, where to next?
Well, I mean, this is a bit of a short episode because we
Wait!
cut out the first half of that. Oh, hello there.
About the sarcophagus? Don't open it. Whatever you do, do not open the Ankaran sarcophagus. Well, despite what I said, if that sarcophagus is opened, there will be disaster. In what form, I cannot be sure. But after studying the evidence, I'm convinced now that it is better left undisturbed, and anyone who'd pursue any other course is deserving of the consequences. There's an intangible sensation I haven't been able to put my finger on since I came to town.
This
I
is a
still
very
don't
weird
know where
turn
it
for
seeps
Becky to
from.
take.
But if the sarcophagus
Yeah.
has a
Whatever you do,
possibility
don't open the
to
Ankara
eliminate that
sarcophagus.
chance,
Why not? I
it
have a
should
hunch.
remain closed. I never said the danger came from an antediluvian, did I? It's merely a possibility, a fraction of a percentage chance. My instincts tell me something is wrong here, and that sarcophagus seems to be the nexus. I'm distancing myself from it. You do as you see fit. I thought you deserved a chance. There's a good possibility we may not meet again. Goodbye, young one.
So we are going to go and talk to Fat Larry and get just an abundance of bullets. Then we are going to the last round where we will talk to Damsel to find out where Nines is. Nines is hiding out in Griffith Park. We are not going to go and talk to him just now, because by then we will probably be wrapping up the episode. But we will go talk to Damsel first. And we will also just get a stupendous amount of weapons.
Baby girl.
Yo, man, gotta galop with this turtle. This week only.
Probably at some point we should pull over like a convenience store or something. I want to trade in some of this sweet loot I got from the Abyss for some snacks.
I guess that's fair. The next exit sign there says that it's got gas, restaurants, and inevitable demise.
Ooh, I love inevitable demise.
Sure, why not? I mean, honestly, it's one of the more inviting signs we've seen since we got to Texas. So here's a totally unsubstantiated theory to fill the air. Troika got another 6 months to work on Vampire. Do you think they would have been crippled by feature creep? You know? Made Chinatown better, but then gone chasing off after some other feature and Alliance? Left that unfinished instead?
I mean, it doesn't feel like feature creep is what happened initially, because it feels like they just ran out of time to tie up the stuff they had already laid down, and it's like the Quagen had been set up, and they just by the time they got to them, so it's not like they really have time to introduce anything else.
Here, Lick. You think of Nines. Said he killed a goddamn primogen.
I didn't want to.
I'm willing to believe
The dialogue
that's
system made me do it.
honest, but I'll be watching you here.
It bugs me that they don't... There should be an option for LaCroix to dominate you into fingering Nines.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like there were any witnesses there besides the sheriff.
Don't expect to see him until this bullshit is resolved.
You are so lucky this is Elysium, Cammy. LaCroix, an alliance with us? Huh. Has he... Look, you're fucking with me, right? Do I look like a goddamn source of amusement for you?
I mean, part of a larger one, yes.
We told him Nines didn't do it! That son of a... And that Quagen bitch! If I ever get my hands on her, I'll tie her eyelashes to her ass hairs and bowl her ass into a car compactor!
The Bray is kind of trying too hard, I feel like.
The Bray?
Maybe I'm saying it wrong.
Alright, I'm fine! Nines, yeah.
I mean, or maybe I just don't know what the term...
I hate those goddamn devils even more than I hate that fascist dandy prince! Goddamn Joe.
I mean, from context, I'm going to assume that you're talking about,
making skank sushi.
you know, Dan's little temper tantrum here.
Nines is.
Hold on.
I don't be telling anyone, but Nines is hiding out in Griffith Park. Nines agrees to the alliance. Guess that means me and the Cam will be on the same side. I think I'll go eat some.
Yeah, it's the hat, the beret.
Oh, beret. I missed the first E in there.
Okay.
It's like the bray, like a donkey.
No, like the Beast of Bray Road, which is a werewolf. Which is, again, completely irrelevant to this game entirely.